I'm
I
here to
have about
complain right
7
now.
letters, 7 emails, so
Okay.
yes, I know it's a continuous problem.
Okay.
Tom, I believe, has addressed that this week.
To the best of our abilities at this time, and we're gonna keep striving for improvement.
Good. And is this contractor being paid off? Because you need to hold money
I
back
do.
until it's right.
I have his checks. I have all the checks, actually.
And he hasn't had any-
They've fulfilled their contract.
And this noise, there's no approval, there's nothing, it's noise pollution.
They've put in the blowers that were agreed to by the township.
Well, you're gonna have to do better than that. That means that the
Well,
township's
right,
gonna
yes,
be
ma'am,
responsible
but what we need
for
to
it.
do is we had to start up the plant. We've shut the old plant down, which brings the noise level down some. Now what we need to do is progress forward on correcting the other situation. We turned the speed of the blowers down, which brings the noise level down, and it is still too loud, we understand that.
Okay.
But there's steps we gotta go through. Unfortunately, it's not a fast fix.
And I've been putting up with it very
yes.
patiently. I don't even sleep in my bedroom anymore.
As you and Mr. Reynolds.
25 more.
Yes,
know.
but you and Mr. Reynolds are adjacent to it,
Right, right.
okay? Everybody else also has a situation that is equally, and nobody's not being listened to.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this is the direction we have to take.
Marina Hawk, 120 Spring Mountain.
What's the name?
Marina Hawk, 120 Spring Mountain. I have children, so what do we do with our children? That's my main concern.
I understand
Okay.
you, but that's.
I work, okay with us adults, it's the children.
It's really not okay with us adults. 'Cause there's
I'm
people
tired
that-
every day, then I got
Right.
my children. That's
Right.
exhaustion for me as a single mother.
I understand that, and we're,
Would it be helpful to go through some of the memo that was prepared for the Board of Supervisors?
This is the first
for the
meeting I've
public?
been to,
Okay.
Would that be helpful, Kelly, do you think?
If you want to, I mean, sure.
if
and
you
paying
would
high
like to read that,
taxes.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it.
I think that would be very helpful.
I mean, I'm not here, I'm not a
No,
person
no,
who
no,
starts.
but
Me either.
Yeah, it's just that I want everybody, it's fair to have everybody be heard, and Tommy, I know what you're trying to do.
And I got it.
You know, but we can't like put it aside, it's a very.
No, it's not,
important
has not been put aside.
Okay, that's all
Let me
I'm
see if I can
concerned
be
with. And
a
I'm
little bit of
sorry
help
to-
here.
This is the first time for me to be at a meeting.
That's what I'm
5
saying.
years I lived here, never had a problem.
Right.
But I do pay out a lot here.
So if I
I'm
could be a
sorry.
little bit of help, because I was speaking last week with Public Works Director about this problem and offered to help give some input in generating some information about what's going on, what the noise is, what you can expect to not be hearing soon, and what's trying to be done about it so far. So it's an ongoing construction project. There is a lot of noise, and there's been a lot of patience and understanding by the residents of this township while this goes on. And during the day, you have been hearing excavating equipment, trucks, and general construction noises. Those are generally limited to working hours. And there are other components that generate noise that are specifically related to sewer treatment. So one of the things you've been hearing is a bypass pump that takes wastewater from the old tanks and it's pumping it to the new sewer plant because the new plant went online. That's an operating engine that runs during daytime hours, and in 1 or 2 weeks that'll be done.
Okay.
The other thing that
Sorry,
you,
so just to clarify, when you say that'll be done, you mean that pump will no longer operate?
right,
At all?
it's just being used as a bypass
It's
pump
temporary.
We're using that
temporarily
to
to
seed.
drain out the old tanks and move that material.
Is that the
over.
one that's on concrete and you can hear metal on concrete?
No,
Is that
no,
the
that's
vibration?
the new blow.
No, that,
Okay.
this is like a generator on the ground.
Okay,
The other thing that you would have been hearing, the blowers that served the old tanks used to be encased in a cinder block building.
right.
And that cinder block building was torn down and rebuilt as part of this project, so those blowers were relocated months ago now to a wooden shed. And that's not dampening the noise as much as it used to be. Those blowers are, again, only needed for another week or two until those tanks are emptied, so they're gonna go offline. So that's some good news.
Okay.
The generator, you might hear, that's exercised once weekly, and that's during daytime hours, that's about an hour. The blowers for the new SBR plant, the blowers themselves are actually, the big machines, they're actually down inside inside a room under the concrete tanks. So the big motors are down below. The problem is the air intake manifolds for the blowers. And they're the source, I think they're really the source of the new noise and the focus of the complaints. The noise from the intake manifold is a little different pitch, and the noise when measured at the manifold is 80 decibels. At the property line, it's less, so technically it doesn't violate the noise ordinance, but that doesn't provide any consolation to you guys.
No.
So, the intake manifolds, the Director of Public Works has been working with the contractor on how to reduce the noise. The silencers were ordered, they were installed when were they installed, about a week and a half ago?
I would say, yeah.
Didn't do enough. Tommy was again working with the contractor and adjusted the motor frequency. I think the pitch is slightly less grating. So it changed the frequency, changed the sound at the air intake a little bit. The other problem is that all the vegetation that was between your house and the sewer treatment plant is gone right now. So
Are they going to put something back?
they are
Is there
going to
be a
plant that,
buffer?
but that's not gonna be fast enough,
Right,
honestly.
no.
I mean, that's gonna
No.
take a little while. They gotta finish the construction at the site before they do the final planting, and then those things have to grow. So right now, there's nothing between the air intakes and the front of your property.
Well,
So,
it's not the front of my property I'm
the
concerned
back
about.
of your property,
It's the
yeah.
back of the
Yeah.
property is where I live. That's where my bedroom is, in
So,
the back corner.
The things you're hearing, there's a picture, and we can share it around a little bit to the people that are impacted.
Kevin, is this something, this packet that, did you put this together?
Tom and I work together. to
Did you
put
put
that
this together, can this go up on the website or somewhere so people can take a look at it? Maybe that would be the best way to do it,
You can do that.
so people
So,
know what's going on.
I think
Is that-
ultimately, I think Tom's done his best to work with the contractor and get this resolved. I think in the end, you know, the contractor is saying, hey, I did what was on the plans. And the design engineer is probably happy that his plant is working. I mean, it's up and running and treating sewage, and he meets all the design and permit requirements. And of course, Tom right now, his license is on the line to make sure that operates correctly and discharges clean to the Perky on the creek. But at this point, it's probably gonna need the design engineer, Gannett Fleming, to get involved on how to redirect the noise from those intake manifolds, which, you know, be that something to deflect the noise or to extend the piping and point it in another direction. I don't know, that's gonna be up to the design engineer, but we're gonna have to, the township's gonna have to get the design engineer to do that.
Well, when a meeting comes up, an actual meeting where everyone is gonna agree that this is done, it's final and are agreed upon, could you post it somewhere, like on the sign out front, so more people know that it's gonna happen? I mean, you know, people, they're really irritated, and I mean, I understand it's construction. I kept my mouth shut for how many months? When did they start with this plant? And this guy, whoever it was, he wasn't starting construction at 8 o'clock in the morning. He was like blowing things up at 6 and 7. I'm like, really? You know, my dog was like, really? You know, it's like, oh, come on, give me a break. But I didn't say anything. I just figured that, you know, if you put up with it, faster it'll get done. But now, you know, this just can't stay that way. And I appreciate what you're doing, Tony.
Can Barb play, because we can all talk about it, and I feel bad even complaining about it, because if you listen to
Ma'am, your
what
name
Barb
is?
has, Colleen Boyle,
And you live,
right here on Spring Mountain Road, 307 Village Drive. But if you listen to what Barb has to listen to, it's really impactful.
Well, I mean, this isn't as, I mean, I just got up at 2 o'clock in the morning one night and, it was just so irritating. I was sleeping on the couch because I can't sleep in my bedroom. And it gets a lot louder than this, but this is in my house and it's in my living room. And, you know, I have to raise my voice for you guys to hear me. And this is in my house, this is in front of my fireplace. I mean, really?
Can
You
you
know,
hear that
it's
almost
just
all
not
the way down to
acceptable.
St. Mary's? People as far as almost
I
that
know.
St. Mary's Church
Well, can you
hear that
imagine
same
me?
vibration.
I'm 75 feet from it. I mean, really. And I've lived here since 1995. Nobody has a right to impact my property like this. It's just not fair.
May I ask a question, please? Linda Jansen, Simmons Road. During the design phase by Gannett Fleming, was a noise impact study ever done? From my reading, that should have been part of the design and phase prior to construction. So now you're saying that they have to come back, and I've also read, you know, even though it doesn't impact me, it's a concern of the township. There's many other sewer plants that have had this problem, acoustical tiles have worked, things like that. But I guess my question is, how liable is Gannett Fleming? Because it almost seems like it would not be low bar. They installed the blowers that they were required, they built the plant to specs. So it almost seems like it would go back to the design phase.
Right.
And if a noise impact study was done, and you know, even though it looked good on paper, when you actually build it, if it isn't what they said it was going to be, then I don't think that cost should be absorbed by Lower Frederick or sewer customers. I mean, if it was a design flaw by Gannett Fleming, then they should be partially responsible, you know, for correcting this problem. You know, if they said, oh, this would only operate at maybe, say, 40 decibels or you know, whatever, I think it's 55 is what's the allowable. And it's at like 80 now, well, they've done something wrong. The design didn't meet the as-built, you know, so I think that they have to take some responsibility rather than just slapping us with more change orders and things like that. So, you know, if it's up to them to you know, hire at their expense an acoustical engineer to correct the problem, then I think Gannett Fleming should be responsible for this.
Well, I haven't gone around and recorded yet, but I have a plan, I'm going to go to the bigger plants, like Ernie had mentioned, Oaks, right? They're not nearly as.
Oh, no, they're not.
You know, it's like, really, you know, this little plant over here makes this kind of noise, and a big enormous one?
Well, from the reading that I did, Barb, actually encasing motors and blowers and things in concrete isn't always the solution. I mean, it's that they can put acoustical panels because the stone, I mean, I'm no expert, this is just what I've read, that actually exacerbates the noise. It makes an echo. But it looked like, I believe one of the ones was on Coney Island in New York. And it sounded, they even had a clip, very similar to what you did. And all that it was encasing some pipes in acoustical panels, putting, you know, strategically putting some acoustical panels, not even around the equipment, just on the sides of the concrete blocks and the whatever was encased. And that seemed to a solution.
With today, all the things that we can do with technology, I just have a hard time believing that we have to live with this. I mean, come on, really? I mean, no, something's wrong, something's seriously wrong. And it's nothing that you did, Tommy.
This was not my project,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just inserting myself slightly, trying to help uncover what the noise issue was to explain it. But I think there are potential answers, the design engineer needs to be involved. I can't jump into the middle of their contract and design things on your new sewer treatment plant. So I think it's a matter of reaching out to the design engineer. I can't tell you about a noise study, I don't know, I wasn't involved. I'm from the outside looking into.
Who was involved in
Well, it used to be.
Hold on a sec, who was involved in getting that contract?
Well, that would have been Gannett Fleming and the board that was in force at the time, and the manager that was in
Well, we're
at
the
the
board
time.
now, so, I mean, speaking for myself, I think that they need to be held accountable. If other sewage plants aren't making as much noise, I mean, they knew that there were residents nearby, a plant shouldn't have been built that makes that much noise with residents so close.
Well, I haven't seen the contract with Gannett Fleming, I think that there's something for somebody to look into, but I think in a
Somebody,
practical,
whoever that somebody is, needs to
in a
do that.
practical way, if you're gonna ask them to help solve this problem, attacking them is probably not.
I'm not attacking them,
Way to
I'm saying
start.
they should be held accountable because they built it. The people who built the plant should be held accountable
Get a hold of Roger,
explaining why it's
and let's
noisy.
have a meeting with Roger, and let's discuss this. Yeah, Ernie.
Ernie Schmidt, Silverbrook Drive, Lower Frederick Township. In my lifetime, I've been involved with several sewer plants, namely the Oaks wastewater treatment plant in downtown Oaks, went through many contracts that I was chairman of that authority for many years. It comes right down to this, your consulting engineer who did the design is responsible. You go back to him, it's his liability, Marla's right. You have to attack him.
Somebody is
He has
accountable.
to come up. If there's something that has to be put extra, he can negotiate per the contract he has. But the noise level that I've heard, just I've been around here, is totally unacceptable. We knew, including supervisors and back when I served also, we knew that plant was situated on the ground it was. We knew where it was located. It was not the best location, but it was the location and the only one we had. So it had to be worked on. Additional ground was acquired, you got it, but the plant, there's no reason why ultimately it can't work in a better fashion.
Exactly.
There's no doubt about it. And the design engineers, the consulting engineers, whoever it was, they are totally responsible.
So, Kevin, get all of him, let's set up a meeting, and we're gonna get this solved right away.
Sorry when I interrupted you.
It's got it running, and what,
Okay,
in the
so,
Act 537 plan, there used to be posted on the website, the design. So I was wondering, Ms. Schroeder was saying that a noise impact study, it was a 92-page document that was submitted along with the Act 537 plan regarding the design, and it was issued by Gannett Fleming. It was taken off the website by Tamara Jaworski, the former township manager, in 2014, I believe, 14 or 15. Then residents started to complain that why have you taken your Act 537 plan down? Why have you taken all the backup documents? They've only put the Act 537 plan back up, but I believe it's contained in Appendix 1. But still, all of the exhibits and all of the appendices for the Act 537 plan are still not on the website. And if my memory serves correct, you're asking me to go back 4 or 5 years, I believe the 92-page Gannett Fleming proposal, I mean, this wasn't even in the design stage, this was just the proposal, is on that website. It's in Appendix number 1.
I believe that was the alternative analysis that decided what type of plant would be most
Yeah,
appropriate.
it wasn't something they could be held to, but I mean, it gave the concept.
Yeah, it was a concept. for
And
this
I
plan.
believe that there was some tables within that. If I remembered, I actually saw an actual copy of it. It was one of those like spiral binds, and it was just like a 92-page little proposal document. And to the best of my memory, I think that there were noise tables in there.
I
So,
don't remember that.
like I said, I'm not positive, and then again, you can't really hold them to that because that was a concept. But I think that's, from that concept, is what the ultimate design became. So if there was noise, level, or, proposed in that document, you would also think that there would be noise level, calculations and statistics in the actual final design before you guys even went to build. And I'm just saying, that's the way. In other words, if what they've built is not what was originally proposed, because I don't think that, this was proposed, that, as Marla said, would make them liable. And also, as Mr. Schmidt said, the design engineer would be responsible for finding a solution to the problem because they basically didn't live up to their end of the contract.
Okay, well, yes,
Gary Bonner, former in Riverside. Related to the noise issue, there's going to be a pump station built down on Riverside. Since we're talking about problems after the fact now, we prevent a similar problem from happening at the pump station.
Yes, the good news is a pump station is not nearly as noisy. We don't have aerators running as part of the pump station. If you've been down by the one by Delphi, the only noise you hear, the only external noise you really hear from a pump station is when the generator is exercised, which is once a week during the day.
Okay. If we could preemptively deal with an issue you know, that we're having problems here.
Yeah,
not-
if
not
you
repeating.
if you want sort of a sample, like I say, we've got the Delphi pump station down along Route 29, 29 and 73 across from Main Road there,
Okay,
as an example. The one that we're talking about for Fulmer and Riverside is actually, slightly different from that, but the components would be the same, so.
can I ask a question? Since that's upstream of the plant, why is not a gravity line being installed?
That's a good question, because we couldn't get Upper Salford to agree with us to put a line down the Perkiomen Creek. We tried that repeatedly, but because of the cliff on Lower Frederick's side of the creek, to install an interceptor down the Perkiomen, we would have had to cross over to the Upper Salford side, come down the creek and cross back. And Upper Salford said, we don't want your sewer touching our township, and they wouldn't let us do it. So that's why we ended up with a pump station instead. Gravity's always a better solution. I agree, gravity doesn't fail. And gravity would have been the preferred method with the township, for reaching agreement with the neighboring township.
Yep, Terry Bird, Little Road. I missed the part at the beginning about Melbourne Hills, so we'll exclude that from this question. But to our manager, has any developer or interested parties reached out to the township regarding land development deals on the R1, R2 parcels west of 29?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. So the Melbourne meeting with Mr. I believe it's Goldfrapp, regarding 47 houses, keeping to what's allowed, to a plan already submitted?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
No, sorry, my understanding was the meeting was, they wanted to know if they could revisit the Goshahaban overlay. Is that,
Why it had failed,
They
and
want
if
to know
there
why.
were
What's
any
your address again?
options,
40
yeah,
Little Road.
if they had
40
an
Little
option,
Road.
if there was any foreseeable option for them to
Yeah.
increase their density. I mean, they're a developer, they wanna do as many lots as they can, and they were told, not as far as we know, if you have anything to propose, bring it to planning commission. That's just sort of a rehash of what we already talked about, but that was the, they had questions and those were answers. There were answers to their questions.
And Ben was representing who in this case?
Ben Goldfarb, the equitable owner, I believed, the LP, is it an LP or an LC?
is he the owner or the owner representative?
Melbourne Hills, I think it's Melbourne Hills L.
No, it's actually the owner's.
Clayton Heckler, isn't it?
It's the Headlers.
Yeah.
It's called Polycom Trust.
LLC.
And it's an LLC. It's located out in California. And it's a way of people to buy real estate. And it's for the benefit of their IRA. In other words, it's a tax dodge or tax shield. They can purchase the property, but say any benefit that they are going to get from it is going to their IRA, so they don't have to pay taxes on it.
Okay, so they were less concerned about the development, more concerned about the overlay?